Hello, my friends. Welcome. I'm Jason, and welcome back to the basement. Today, I want to give those an update on my film journey. I've been talking about that in the last video, which is done quite a while ago, but I did have some old, Canon film cameras, 35 millimeter film cameras, a Canon AL1, and a couple of lenses. One of them being the 50 mm 1.8, which is the only one I currently still have. The others I kind of let go as of this update. I am really not interested in 35 millimeter film, to be honest with you. So I think we're all spoiled with digital photography, myself included, very much included. And I've always been more of a digital minded person in every aspect of my life. And I really feel like with photography in general, and especially with photography, that it's just more convenient, advantageous, and better in this current state that we're in. I could appreciate those who love film. I have a lot of colleagues, photography friends who love film photography. But to me, the experience is I like the analog experience. That's the part I do like. I like shooting manually. I like the manual experience, but the output to get the photos is just too slow for me. I don't develop film at home. I don't know how to do that. I have no interest in that. So for me, it's taking it to a, film photography shop or a Walgreens or whatever and waiting for the photos to come back. And that can be okay. But I think in the last few months I've kind of been toying, well, what else could I do, right? I could adapt my Canon, FD lenses to my Fuji cameras, which I do have the adapter for. I have a speed booster and a regular adapter, so I have that ability to get manual glass and use it. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, I could just get manual lenses from other manufacturers that currently make manual lenses to fit the Fuji X system, like TD Artisans, Seven Artisans, Meiki. There's plenty of other Chinese manufacturers. Rokinon. There's another one from South Korea, I think. They make lenses all manual, so you can have that manual experience. I think Fuji cameras, especially the X Pro, XT series, lends itself to like having that feeling, but still be digital. So I still have those adapters. I probably will keep my 50 mm 1.8 from my FD camera and probably add maybe another one, maybe the 24 millimeter. And that will give me some versatility in using both lenses with two different focal lengths because I have a regular adapter and a speed booster. So that way I can use them close to what they actually are with the speed booster, but then with the crop factor of APS-C for the Fuji X system, I get another focal length out of that same lens. So it kind of gets a 2-for-1. But anyway, on to the new things. So what I've been doing lately has been embarking on instant film. So I've always been an Instax user, the wide. I have the Instax wide printer, link wide printer, and I've used that, for my own purposes to have, shots for my own, portfolio. So stuff like this I printed, this is a digital photo, but I printed it on the Instax wide printer because I wanted a copy of it, just to have in my hand, and you can do that anytime. So, it works with your phone, and I just, transfer the photos from my camera to my phone, and then now my phone has it, and I can print it from the printer. So I've been using that for a couple of years now, so I love it. I think it's great. I also have a Canon 4x6 dye sublimation printer. So, I should print actual 4x6s, which pretty decent for home. So I don't really go to print shops and get anything. A lot of times if it's a 4x6 or an instant style print, I've always printed my own family stuff at home. Other than maybe a large size 8x10 or something like that, then I get it, I'll outsource it. But I don't print a lot of those, to be honest with you, because I try to make books at home. So other than that, I haven't been printing anything large. But like I said, instant film. So I went out and I got a Lomo instant wide camera. Now this takes the same wide film that I have from my Instax Link camera, and I really enjoy using this. Now this is my second one. So the first one I got didn't work. I bought it off eBay and it was a total dud. So I sold that parts essentially. And then I got a brand new one from Lomography, and thankfully this one is working with no issues. So I've shot, probably 5 packs of film so far, maybe more. And, really enjoyed the output. It's a fun camera. It's not very heavy. It is a big camera. So it's a big chunky brick looking thing. But I like it. It's not too heavy. I bought these Ringke, Ringke straps from Amazon. I've had these kind of straps for a long time with other cameras, other smaller cameras. So I attached that to it, and keeps it secure. But it's not a heavy camera. So in terms of using it, how do I feel about it? So here's the thing. I think that this is probably the best featured budget-ish wide camera, because the only other alternative that I considered was the Mint RF70, and that is considerably more expensive than this one. This is about $150 to $200 depending on the package you get. So sometimes they come with all these other accessories. I didn't get that. I just bought this, so it was about 200-ish once you factor in taxes and all that. So not cheap per se, but not super expensive. The RF70 is about $900 to $1,000, and that's a Mint camera. Obviously, it's a different kind of camera. It has a glass lens. You've got manual focusing. You've got manual shutter. So this doesn't have those features. But what it has over the other Instax wide cameras is that you have flash control, you have multiple exposures, so you have all these, I'll put it up to the camera, hopefully it will focus. So you got flash control, you can turn the flash on and off. You can't do that with the other ones from Instax themselves. You have multiple exposures, so you can shoot, have multiple shots in your frame, and then have that be in the same photo. You've got a bulb mode, so you can hold down the shutter and release it, so you can do long exposures at night. And then you have this, what I think is the most key feature to really dial this up to like a professional level, is that you've got this 1/30 second shutter option. So that, coupled with the fact that it has a PC sync, you can now use external flashes with this. And I think that, to me, is, besides all these other features which are clutch, it sits in that middle range of being completely automatic, and then over here with the RF70 completely manual, and this one sitting in a semi-automatic but feature-rich way. So yes, you can't control your aperture, you can't control your shutter speed, but in this sense, you can have the shutter speed control for when you're doing flash work indoor, in a situation when you want to lock it down. So how you would use that is you put it in this mode, so you do 1/30, shutter speed. Your aperture is going to be fixed at f8. That's as per Lomo in the website. So it's going to stick at f8. And then the film speed for Instax wide is 800. So now that you know all of those details, you could meter for that amount of light. And then once you plug your PC sync into your external flash, you'll be able to get the proper exposure that you want. So it creates a whole lot of flexible options in terms of getting good, getting some artistic things going. And that's really what I got it for. Because other than just shooting in the studio and doing that, I don't think you really want to play with, I personally don't want to play with completely manual features of something like the RF70 where I have to control everything on the fly. Like if I'm around family, I got a lot going on. I got my daughter, she's young, and her friends are around. They're running around. I just want to catch a snap outside. Time is of the essence, and I think that's where the automatic features will help you, but you still have some flexibility to get creative and do something else. And I think you probably can do that with the more expensive mint camera, but I think that it's going to cost you a lot more. And are you going to truly use those features? And I think if you're going to try it first, I'm going to step it up with this. And to be honest, if I do want to get way more into the artistic side of printing to an Instax wide film, because there's potential in this film, I think that digital is still going to be an easier path to getting that shot you want. And you can do it with any camera and just transfer it over. And so, to me, I think that's the better way to go. So I give this camera a thumbs up. I really enjoy it. Now, the pros and cons, like I said, the pros are it is a flexible camera. It does have automatic, but you do have some flexibility. I say the biggest con, I would say, is the viewfinder. It's off to the right. I am left eye dominant. I'm a left-hander, but I am, it's off to the right side of the camera, which is okay. But here's the issue. People would probably say, well, that's an advantage because now you can see with your right eye, because if you were left-eyed, if it was on the left side, you'd be like this. Yes and no. That would be true if it was a digital camera with an EVF. But because it's not, there's a parallax issue, even more pronounced because I'm all the way over here. I'm physically to the right. The lens is to the left, and so is, and my viewfinder is also to the right. So when I'm framing, if I'm framing something really close, I have to make my adjustment to move this way because since my eye is here, I have to move the camera or move myself here to adjust, and that could be tricky. So with this camera, I try to stay in the 1 to 2 meter range. On the camera itself, probably hard to see, but there's 3 zones. You got the 0.6 meters, which is your close-up. That's going to be like arm range selfie style. And then you got your 1 to 2 meters, which are going to be 3.5 to 6.5 feet or so. So that's when you're shooting a subject waist up, maybe 2 people, and that's going to be good for that. And then you have infinity, which is going to be 2 meters and out. So to me, I try not to shoot close, and if I do, you kind of have to ignore the lens, the viewfinder, and almost kind of just frame it with your eye above the camera. It is 35 millimeter equivalent, so it is a wide focal length. So if you're not, as long as you center what you're seeing, you're kind of guesstimate. So I think that's the only con I would say I have with this kind of camera. So I'm looking forward to using it more and buying lots of packs of film, experimenting with the artistic side, using it in the studio, getting some cool stuff with it. And it's going to be a learning curve, but this is a long-term pitch for me. So one more thing before I go. Besides that, I did embark on the mini camera, right? So this is a Lomo Instant Automat. So same company, but this is using the mini film. So instead of the large wide film, this uses the mini film, which is about half the size. So I look at this as kind of like full frame, half frame. That's kind of my mentality with this, right? I personally love the wide film way more. That's just a fact. I like the wide format. You could just see more. It's easier to get, something in the shot. It's the 3:2 aspect ratio for digital cameras of APS-C especially. It fits this perfectly. So whether I'm using the analog, camera or using my digital ones, everything, it just works. It's seamless. Now with the mini, it's half the size. So this is more suited for portrait orientation, in my opinion. So, I tried to shoot with these in a portrait orientation, and, I have to get used to that because I'm not used to doing that all the time. But I do like that they're less expensive prints, so you can get these, a lot cheaper than the wide. And the camera itself is much smaller. So in terms of carrying it around, I really like this one much better, right? I don't like the print size, but it is a much smaller camera to carry. And so if in terms of being out on the street and shooting, I kind of like this better. I just wish that the size of the prints were bigger. If this was, square-ish, then it would be much better. But, something you got to get used to. I think I think for me, the future is using these in tandem in terms of, from an artistic perspective. I want them to go together. I want them to be complementary to each other. So when I'm doing a scene, or I'm putting I would say not a scene, but if I'm putting a project together, I want prints like this and prints like these to complement each other. So I don't feel like this is going to be a piece to a puzzle per se, rather than an individual piece of art, right? And I think if I approach it that way, I will have long-term success and happiness with this format of, film. So, yeah, so I'm going to end it there. I'm not going to ramble on too long. So, are you an Instax user or an instant film, person? Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Are you interested in these cameras? Drop a comment and let me know. I appreciate you watching. I've just now hit 600 subscribers. Help me get to 1,000, guys. I'm doing this out of love. I'm not sponsored or, looking to do anything crazy. I'm just sharing my joy of photography and documenting it on this channel. So I will see you on the next one. Peace.